And the builder sort of walked up to me with a bucket of waterproofing from Bunnings and said, waterproof this bathroom. Just let go of the ego.
Yeah.
Because you never know everything. I don't care. There's always something new that you learn. You're always learning. I'm sure you guys yourselves are still learning with new things. When you don't know everything, and you'll never know everything. Unless you lose that ego and you're happy to go, I'm just going to call the rep, even if it's a stupid question.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sealed for Good. Today we have a special guest, Dan Davies. He's spent a long time out there in the industry. We're about to ask him the leading question, Dan, is what got you started in the waterproofing space and then into construction?
Yeah, well, I remember when I first sort of moved over here, I was in Victoria and started working with a building company, and the builder sort of walked up to me with a bucket of waterproofing from Bunnings and said, waterproof this bathroom. I sort of just looked at him and was like, oh. So started reading the back of the bucket, and then there was a number there, and I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll just call the number and see what happens. And then understood, and then they just told me to use certain things. I didn't really think much of it, but now looking back, it's all about compatibility, and they were only use their sealant with this, and didn't think much of it. I was sort of, when I first started with that using their sealant because it was actually cheaper than other sealant brands when you went to Bunnings. And then that was sort of how it started, and I just went down a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, which is the way that a lot of good things start. Like I go down rabbit holes all the time when I find something of interest. So I want to be good at something, you know, like for me at the moment, and it's not at the moment, I've been doing it for like 20 years now. It's like I do the whole home barista thing. Oh, yeah. You know, and I don't know if you've ever looked into that space, but mate, it gets stupid. Like it's just the amount of detail, information, over information. And I always make an analogy of that and waterproofing, right? Because that's how it starts for a lot of, especially 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, that was how most of us got into waterproofing out of just, oh yeah, you're a tiler, you need to waterproof now, right? Like that's how like my old man started. They weren't waterproofing. And then all of a sudden waterproofing was something they needed to do, and then it sort of, you know,
I sort of feel like
evolved from there.
Some of the older waterproofing, like we do a lot of bathroom renos and we take it out, and a lot of the older waterproofing is actually really good. There's nothing wrong with it. It hasn't failed. So I just don't know at what stage of the building where they lost the old waterproofing and changed to some new, and then everything was failing, and now it's come full circle. Now it's way better. And I feel like how when I sort of got into it, I changed to Gripset over what I was originally using because of the YouTube channel and how easy it is to learn from it. Yes, you'll never know everything, and I think with waterproofing,
that's your camera there. You're on. That's this.
That's
it. YouTube channel.
Well, you've got to. You got me now. I don't know what to say.
But going back to what I was saying. So you know that analogy that I use for the whole home barista thing and making coffee at home, like. I went through a period of time that I really got into it, but what I learned and the similarities between that and the waterproofing space, it's the over information, right? And how different perceptions or different people's experience will shape on what is critical and what's not. And then I think what happened in that waterproofing space was, we had the fundamentals are always there. Tiling's the same, right? Like tiling, the fundamentals over 1,000 years probably haven't changed that much, right? Stick this, check this, all that sort of stuff is, the way we do things, it hasn't really changed that much. But I think what happened in the waterproofing space is that when something's new and you have that change, we're seeing it with the new standards and different information that we're getting. It's that you have so many voices, and then you have opinions that sound like facts, and then, you got to decipher through all that. And that's when you have that aha moment. All this extra that I bought and all these extra steps that I'm taking, I probably don't need them. I probably need to then strip it back, get back to basics. And it goes back to, practicality as well, right? Like, I think the worst thing that you can do for a contractor or a tradesperson is add too many steps that don't have a big impact on the final result, right?
There's the other part as well, which I'll still never understand is, I understand you can still waterproof with just a sealant as long as you're getting enough of a fillet on the corner. It's fine. But why even put yourself in that position when you can just use like a B50 joint band, where it's cured, you know that's 100% cured, you know that it's got enough flexibility. So just because of the cost, why just pass on the cost?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come out of your pocket, but you can now sleep at night knowing that's not going to fail in that corner at least.
Yeah. So, I'm aware that I might sound like a complete, hypocrite over just what I just said about stripping it back to the basics.
Yeah.
I agree, right? The B50 bandage. Actually, I'm not a hypocrite because it's definitely a more practical approach to detailing that. It's built in.
Yeah.
Like I always like to compare when you do the fillet bond breaker or the cove, you're constructing the bond breaker detail.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're using the B50, you're installing the bond breaker detail. You're not constructing it, right? It's already being done in the box. But I suppose it goes back to what I was saying as well. It's about that perception and experience. If you started in the industry using a sealant or even a more classical way to do it is with using the neutral cure detail, right?
Yeah.
To make sure the membrane doesn't bond and, that, to me, that's a bit of a misinterpretation of what you're trying to achieve there. You have guys that did it for 20 years and they never had an issue, or they trust that method, or they got good at that method, and no different to you in your experience with the B50, right? So,
and I don't get me wrong, I still, like when I first started it was sealant and then the cloth tape. And you had to try and fold it in the corners yourself, and it was a mission. And then you come across B50 in the prefabricated corners and you're like, oh, this is way easier.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like jumping over to the Gripset products as well, I think they're so much more user-friendly than some other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of brands out there. Another thing I've learned from Gripset is you can pretty much, every product you have is, a different brand will have a product.
Yeah.
So you can understand the products, but your YouTube channel is so good that you can, anyone that just needs to sort of know, like they can go on that and find out nearly all the information you need.
Yeah. Well, now, I suppose it goes back to the philosophy of Gripset, which one that I share, right? Again, it's about practical ways of doing things to achieve the best outcome, right? And that's what we do with the products, whether it be the B50, it does what it needs to out the box. It's easier to apply. The less time you spend or your hands on with it, the less risk of human error, right? And that's the reality of most processes. If you could take the human out of it, you'd probably end up with a
robots.
But it's true, right? Like it's a machine. Like we're just part of the cog, right? So anything like that. And I was just talking to Ben, who he loves it when I bring him up when he's behind the camera. There, he's he's human, right? So when he's editing something, one edit to the next day, depending on how he's feeling, could affect the quality of his work to a degree. Right? In his world, it just kind of looks unfortunate, right? When you watch it back. In our space, that could make the difference between, a good job and something that fails. So, I think you were talking about it before about trying to be the absolute best you can at what you're doing. And for you, it doesn't make sense being any other way, right? Because it's built into you.
And also it's the ego. Just let go of the ego. Because you never know everything. I don't care. There's always something new that you learn. You're always learning. I'm sure you guys yourselves are still learning with new things. So that's another thing I've sort of taken from it, and understanding that there's all different brands of waterproofing. Yet one of the brands might be perfect for a certain application in a certain temperature over a different brand because the temperature or something doesn't work as well. It's just all different.
So when we talk about how important it is to read the product TDS and all that sort of stuff, so what I generally tell guys is if you want to know if that product is going to be suitable, start reading from the limitations. So in our TDS, the way it's sequenced, we do the description, what the application, then we sort of go through the process, right? And then at the end we have limitations. But I tell guys to read our TDSs backwards. Right? Okay. Read the limitations, and then straight away you'll go, okay, I love this product, but I might have to call Gripset and say, hey, what else have you got for this scenario, right? It's,
also building a great relationship with your reps. Best thing ever. You need a question answered. Like if they can't answer it themselves, they've got access to you or someone who will be able to answer it. Which is definitely
but it's a two-way street. Like I've always considered ourselves very lucky that we're able to engage with our customer base the way that we do, because like you said, right, we're always learning. And a lot of the things that we implement and product development and the things that we do it in coordination with our customer base, right? So it definitely works two ways. And that's why we've always been, ambassadors for, our competitors or our peers, that they should do sort of the same, follow suit and get involved with your customer base and, lift the bar together, really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I remember you, Dan, you sort of left an impression with me when you came in and did the GAPP training, and I'm pretty sure you were just starting out back then. So what was that like for you?
I think it was good so in your head you run all these sort of things, or what if I do it this way, what if I detail something this way, is it correct, is it incorrect, and then coming to the course and speaking to yourself, and we sort of look at you to be like, you're Dr. Waterproof, you know the answers to this, give me the answers, is this correct? And even you guys would be like, oh, that's actually a different way of doing it, but it's not, it's a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
But then you'd show me how you guys would do it, so then you can leave sort of the GAPP training then going, right, well, none of them are incorrect. There might be 5 ways to achieve the end goal.
Yeah.
It's just working through what works best for you, I guess, and is it going to work at the end?
Yeah, that's it. And it's about fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are we trying to achieve here? There's certain things like water shedding and making sure the overlays are correct and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to detailing certain things, that there's definitely different methods to do it. But I suppose that's where the benefit is as well. Like, when I did training with different manufacturers, that's what I used to appreciate from it, is being able to bounce those ideas off and, confirming what, you already have a gut feeling, or through your experience, that it's correct, but it's nice to sort of bounce it off and get it confirmed. And then from the flip side, like I was saying before, that engagement for us and that opportunity for us to actually like pick the mind apart of someone that is, very diligent installer, it allows us to sort of then adapt things and improve on our details as well. So again, it goes back to, we want things to be as practical as possible and achievable to get that consistent outcome, right? So I suppose the other big challenge that we have is what I call like time value, right? So that's where you're at a certain rate and that really only allocates for X amount of time to spend on that job. How do you go about managing or balancing, time and quality?
I think I've always stood by one thing is, all right, it might have taken a bit longer because you've had a couple of setbacks on the job. Don't ever sacrifice the quality just to try and make some money back. Just go, whatever, stick to it, because then at the end of the whole thing, they're going to come back to use you because you're still doing a great job no matter what. But different instances, I guess, is, say now it's been raining for 3 weeks and the balcony's just been sat there. You get one dry day and they'll be like, come on, Waterproof, you should be here. Well, you got to understand that screed is saturated. So what do you want me to do? Like, I'm not going to turn up on the one dry day and do it. But
so I suppose it goes back to kind of the point you were making before as well about the lining board, right? And sort of working towards getting the trade that follows you to understand what you do and vice versa. And it's the same with the builder client, right? Like, they have their challenges. A lot of the time it is sticking to a schedule and meeting those targets. But if it's going to cause you problems
I'm
down
probably,
the track.
I'm probably quite lucky, to be honest. Most of my builders now, don't get me wrong, I've had some arguments with builders about, that they need it done now. Well, what do you want? Do you want a job done right, or do you just want me to bodge this and then we'll be back fixing it? So I'm quite lucky. I'd say 98% of my builders, it's not about the time, they just want it done correctly. So they just let me go. And if they have a setback, they understand then that they might have missed a small window where they had the time to fit in. So they'll just say, no, we'll work around you. When do you want us to book the certify and stuff? So I'm quite lucky in that sense.
Well, I don't think, and we say lucky, right? And I had similar type of customer base as well, but I don't think luck has much to do with it. Like, you got to work towards it, right? And I have no doubt that you would have gone through some pain to get to that point, right?
I think I'm definitely pick and choose who I work for these days. Rather than, when you're starting, you just so, enthusiastic about it all, and you're like, I can't wait, more builders, more work, and you just keep doing. Then you start sort of accepting the way that they've left the room just to get the work and get your name out there. Whereas now I'm like, well, if they're doing a shit job all the way up to the waterproofing, well, waterproofing isn't going to save this job, if you get me. Like, you know, it's more,
we get it.
it's more of a risk that now working for those people is so much of a risk for yourself, because if that fails, it's my problem.
Yeah.
Irrelevant of how, you know, could have been something they've done prior to me getting there. It still becomes my problem, or the trades after me, even worse.
Yeah.
You know, they could cut your membrane, drop things on your membrane.
Yeah, so I suppose it comes down to, you know, your client valuing the service that you provide, right? And we touch on this all the time. It's I was talking about it in another episode, where you might have a contractor that will say, I've got to compete with all of this over here, whereas it's about changing your mindset to they're not your competitors, right? They're not going to be able to engage the same level of clientele as you have. You know, you say you pick and choose, right? It's more about aligning with people that have similar values, that want to do the right thing. And generally it's just, you know, even if I know I took on work where the rate was slightly lower, but my work rate was better because of the efficiencies that working with Quality Builder provides as well, right? So you got to actually skin the cat and work it all out. And we ask this question every time. I'm going to ask you this question as well. But if I get asked the question of what the best advice is to, you know, young person entering in, you know, waterproofing, is learn to value yourself, understand what your values are, and find clients that align with that. And I suppose I can go further and, you know, and plug our company as well, is align yourself with manufacturers that also have that same sort of, you know, values and beliefs. But now it's your turn to answer that question. So if you were,
put me on the spot.
you know, but no, seriously, like if you could give, you know, a younger you sort of some advice on.
It probably be more back yourself more.
Yeah.
It's probably something I've never really done yet. I don't know why, because everything I sort of do, I go all in.
Yeah.
So I think definitely back yourself. Don't have an ego is number one, because if you have an ego, you're never going to be like, it's the mentality of, I don't need to ask for help, I know everything. Well, you don't know everything, and you'll never know everything unless you lose that ego and you're happy to go, I'm just going to call the rep, even if it's a stupid question. Call them 200 times a day, annoy them, because at the end of the day, or, you know, longer down the track, you're going to be way better, because you know all that stuff now, because you ask the questions rather than winging it. You could have done 10 bathrooms incorrectly because you didn't ask something. So that would probably be it.
That's good. Well, Dan, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time.
No worries.
I hope we can do it again another time as well. I'm sure there's plenty more that we can talk about. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Sealed for Good. Congratulations to Mononess Waterproofing, this week's Gripset Applicator Spotlight. Fantastic workmanship and eye for detail. Enjoy.